around. This is Florida Swim Baiter. I'm putting together this review of the LDC heavy and medium heavy rods to show some of their features, but also to show some of their capabilities and their limitations, a range per se of what they're capable of throwing. I know a lot of new people come in and they're interested in the rods and they want to know, can I throw this lure on it, or is the rod capable of throwing this and this? And I'm hoping that I can demonstrate that with this video and the following ones. I'm going to be throwing some different smaller hard baits, some soft plastics, frog, also some baits known to tumble, top water, mid-range baits, and the larger baits. I also want to get into the spiral wrap and discuss the balance point and put some larger baits on here to show the parabolic bend and the action of the rod. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and thank you for watching. This is a LDC medium heavy and an OG wake. This is just for demonstration purposes. I wouldn't throw a bait this heavy on this rod. Just showing if you pulled it in a normal position, even the bait this heavy, how little bend you get at the end. These rods have a lot of strength and a very fast action. This next bait is a Born Again Armageddon heavy floater, the heaviest bait I have on the LDC heavy. Again, you see there's very little bend at the end, very fast action. This here is for fighting the fish. It gives you a lot of power with a light tip. It gives you the capabilities of throwing baits much smaller than you'd ever expect to throw with a rod with this much strength. Let's talk about balance points. What is the balance point? To me, that's the center of gravity on a rod. I haven't seen any rods, off-the-shelf rods, and the higher-end rods I'm going to demonstrate to have a balance point this close to the reel seat where they belong. Why is this important to us as swim baiters? Well, it's very important. You're throwing a heavy-duty rod with heavy-duty bait for anywhere from 48 hours a day. It can put a lot of stress on your wrist and your forearm. And if you're trying to, walk the dog with a punker, or rip the tail on a freestyle, or slap the tail on a wake bait, you can do it for a lot longer with a lot less fatigue. And this is a medium heavy with a Pluton, which is heavier than the Toro, my heavy rod, and it's still incredibly balanced. On this rod, because I have a shorter butt end than most people request as swim baiters, my balance point is a little farther forward. But the way I handle this rod, it's not that much, only a few inches off. And these next two rods I consider high-end rods, and I believe they're both carbon fiber. You have the Kamara with a Daiwa, very lightweight Daiwa, and a Zillion swim bait rod with a Revo. Again, the balance point is here. And to also demonstrate, this was my go-to rod before I used the LDC. Even though this is a lot lighter than that one, whenever I was walking the dog with this bait or using the wake bait, it was very fatiguing. Even though it was lighter, because the balance point was off, I was just putting a lot more stress on my arm. And both of these rods cost more than the LDC production rods. I'm trying to demonstrate or show the spiral wrap on the rod. Also some of the rod's hardware. And what is the purpose of the spiral wrap? Well, it's about control. Because the eyes are now on the bottom of the rod, like a spinning rod, instead of on the top, the pressure is on the rod itself and not the eyes. So when you're trying to fight a fish, the reel doesn't try to spin or turn on you. You have a lot more control over it. Now, does it affect castability? No, not at all. Because there's no tension on the line during casting, it flows through no problem. I actually can cast, these rods are so effective they cast better than any other swim bait rods I've used. The only thing you will feel is during the retrieve of like a big lure, you're going to feel it going around the corner of the eyes, or when you're fighting a fish you don't even notice it at all because of the strength of these rods. And to demonstrate, I've tied this one off to show the bend in the rod, how much strength it has, and also to show the kind of control you can have, because it always wants to pull the line downward because of the position of the eyes.
Crazy, don't go crazy, you know.